You and I had a chance to go down and meet the Lakers D League, the defenders. It was a great story, so let's check it out.
What's the biggest difference in your mind from college to the D League?
Well, I think that, it's a good question. I mean, really, the steps are kind of college, D League, NBA, and so, guys, this is a stepping stone for a lot of guys. And the interesting thing about the D League is there's a lot of guys that are coming straight from college that are young players, and there's also a group of guys that are veterans. But really, we feel like with our team, we have 10 guys that are kind of knocking on the door and that are close to the NBA. And the unique thing about all the situations they're in is, when is the call going to come? Like Courtney Fortson getting called up the other day to the Clippers. We had no idea it was going to happen. He had no idea. He gets off a plane ride from Idaho, and there's a phone call waiting for him, to go to the Clippers. And so, the guys have to constantly be on the top of their game because, again, you don't know when the call's coming.
Seems like the players in the D League, how are they selected? Seems like they're all have something special.
They do. I mean, the talent level is at an all-time high, and the D League office signs all the players, and then there's a waiver pool that players go through, and there was a draft that we had earlier, and then you have the rights to players from the prior year. So it's kind of a three-way pool on how you get your players on your roster.
For these guys here, they're practicing the same place the Lakers are practicing. Obviously, that's got to be some kind of a something to kind of get them going a little bit more than maybe somewhere where they don't see a pro team on their floor.
You think?
those trophies are in the window up there? Yeah, I think so.
No, I mean, like last year in Reno, I mean, we were sometimes going from high school to high school gym, and so obviously, practicing on a shorter floor. Here, I mean, we are treated like an NBA team, and every one of us is fortunate. The trainer's fortunate. The assistant coaches are fortunate. I'm fortunate, and all the players are fortunate because of the way that we're treated, because of the environment that we're in. And I think they do really appreciate being in this type of situation because it's unique. There's no other team that has done it this way. And again, I think that has a little bit to do, or a lot to do, with our record, because our players really do understand that this is a different way of doing things.
What is the biggest learning curve, do you think, from college to the D League as far as what you're teaching?
I think there's a lot. The defensive concepts become much more complicated. There's more offensive concepts. The game is played at a faster pace against better players. So the athleticism, the strength, the height, all those things are drastically different. It's interesting, during training camp, we had some college coaches come over and even like an assistant coach from Loyola Marymount to talk after a practice and hear him talk about the difference in the speed of the game, the strength of the game, how a great college player can come to the D League and really struggle because of the level of talent.
It's interesting, too, because, we see a lot of young talent that sometimes gets called up to the NBA and they don't get enough minutes. And they really have to play. Just talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think with any player, the whole key is opportunity and being in the right place at the right time. And for a lot of these guys, it's not just about getting the call and being on an NBA roster. It's about, how do I figure out a way to get into a rotation? And, it's interesting because not always, NBA teams aren't necessarily looking for the top scorer or the top rebounder. You got to be able to fit a role. And Fortson's a great example. I mean, Clippers have 2 point guards out with injury, so now he's allowed to play minutes and get out there and prove, not just to the Clippers, but to the rest of the NBA, that he's a player that belongs. And you look at his game the other night in Utah, where he's the second leading scorer on an NBA team. Just being there for 2 games proves the level of talent, and it's really just about opportunity.
Guys are recruited so early now out of high school. Are they mentally ready at 18, 19 years old to be in the D League or in the NBA in your eyes?
Probably not. I mean, the system of high school to college is there for a reason, and there's a select few players that are ready physically, and even those guys, I think, emotionally, off the floor. It's a big step when you're living on your own as opposed to being, under the college umbrella where you have teammates your same age, you go in a class, you're on a much more structured system. But I think the great thing about the D League is it can help those young players, even guys on NBA rosters that are assigned to come and see what it's like at the lower level of pro basketball. And I think the assignment rule is a great vehicle for teams to utilize with their younger players.
Life lessons, I guess, huh?
There's a lot of them in the D League, that's for sure.
Now, you've also been on the broadcasting side. Do you talk to the players about the media ever?
Not really. In the NBA, I talked a lot about it because
What kind of things did you say?
one, I don't think anyone understands how hard it is to do the media thing. I know that the first time that I had worked for ESPN Radio on the Game of the Week, they had asked me to go interview Larry Brown, and I needed to take a stopwatch and have a 3-minute interview, and I broke out in a sweat. It was worse than diagramming a play in front of 20,000 people on national TV when you're down 2 points. I'd rather have the clipboard than the microphone because I didn't know, you don't know what questions to ask. And from one coach to another coach, it's like that you want to get into meat and potato stuff that the general fan wants, but then you don't want to interfere with the inner makings of what a coach goes through. So it's a difficult job the media has because I think everybody in the media respects what coaches have to go through and they respect what players have to go through, but yet you have a job to do, and that job is to try to get something that the general public wants.
Yeah. What's this experience been like for you coaching in the D League so far?
It's been great. I guess I'm in a little bit different situation. Having been fortunate enough to be a coach of 2 NBA head teams. Right. I've kind of hit the goal that I wanted at a young age, and now I'm enjoying this more and enjoying the process, enjoying teaching, enjoying being with the players. In the D League, you become much more close with your guys than you do at the NBA level. The flights are commercial, and you have 6 a.m. flights, and you're on a bus with guys all the time, and so you develop much more of a rapport and the relationships, like with Donald Sloan, who played for us in Reno and got called up, and now with the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, to get the text after the game from a Danny Green when he has 20 points with the Spurs and he says, hey, thanks for the opportunity. I mean, those things are worth its weight in gold. And so, I kind of look at this time, I want to try to give back to the players. The game's been great to me. It's been great to my family. And, so now I got to give back and feel fortunate. I feel fortunate to be coaching the Defenders. I think it's a great job. I think it's better than many NBA assistant coaching jobs, at least for me it is.
Is it less stressful to be in a situation like this? And like you said, you enjoy it more, obviously.
I don't, it's probably not less stressful because for me personally, I put a lot of stress on myself every game out. I actually feel more pressure in the D League than I did the NBA. Really? I know that's kind of a weird, unique thing, but I do. Personally, I feel more pressure every D League game than I did before NBA games. Well,
is it because you feel maybe more responsible for these guys maybe going to the next level, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's that. There's probably a lot of factors, but when you're coaching and there's a scoreboard, there's pressure.
Yeah, well, that's just competition, right?
It is, and so I think all of us feel it. Players feel it. The assistant coaches feel it, but again, it's a fun experience to be the camaraderie and be with these guys on a daily basis. Like, you get a chance to get to know them, not just between the lines.
So, Zach, this is actually the second time that you and I have chatted. The first time was at Lakers Media Day. Just talk about the experience. We talked with the coach a little bit about the fact that you guys are playing on the Lakers practice floor, and making that next step to the NBA. You're tasting it a little bit now.
It's great. We get to use their facility and kind of get the feel of actually being in the NBA practice facility and working hard, and seeing how hard those guys work in when they come in. We want to move up to that next level. So watching them just motivates us.
I know that this is a kid's game that you've been playing ever since you could probably, bounce a ball. What's the biggest difference between playing in college and then the D League?
To me, nothing. I mean, because you want to play hard wherever you go. That's just my thought. Different players may have different opinions, but to me, I feel if you used to playing 100, why not keep it up?
Is the learning curve a little bit different, or the terminology, things like that, or?
For me, definitely the terminology is different. I had to catch on to that, and you know, I'm still working through it.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot to learn for sure. What was it like being with the Lakers when you were there?
Oh, it was great. You know, here I am, a kid growing up in a foster home, being told that he's not going to amount to anything, and you know, being able to live my dream and work hard. It was definitely a good feeling.
What motivated you through the hard times?
Just the people around me, you know, just telling me to keep my head high and keep me on a positive note and away from all the negative vibes.
Well, I mean, you're definitely doing a great job, that's for sure. Did you have any influences, people around you, players, people in basketball that helped you out, maybe guided you here?
My friends, my family, you know, people who took me in their homes and kind of just watched out for me, and you know, a huge friend of mine who's been there backing me up.
Okay.
Erica, hi Erica, you know, girlfriend.
Now, how did you meet Erica?
Through a friend that I went to high school with. Ended up moving to Portland, and they got their restaurant, and then, you know, they ended up meeting through some other friends, and that's just how everything just kind of matched up. So it's been great.
I think it's all about learning, and you know, being at this level obviously is different than being at a college level. We were talking to Coach about, you know, just about getting here and about playing in Europe. I mean, there's so many choices that you guys have.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices. And it's a very hard decision to make, because it's like you're here and everybody knows who you are, so you made a name for yourself. And do you leave that behind to go overseas to play for 3 months for, you know, a little bit of cash that you can get, versus getting all the looks and people knowing who you are and possibly being on the team for a 1-year contract or even more. So it's tough. It's tough, and I had to make that decision. I, you know, decided to stay here.